Welcome to the Intuitive Patterns for the month of November 2021. If we look at the many different decks of cards that I use, I'm going to start with the Osho Zen Tarot. The cards are Inner Voice, Patience, and Clinging to the Past. The medicine cards are Rabbit, Horse, Fox. The Mayan Oracle is Simi, Khan, Chichan. The Ancient Egyptian Tarot is Justice, the Hanged Man, and the Four of Discs. The Aleister Crowley Tarot is Pleasure, Strife, and Satiety. The Healing Earth Tarot is Death, Two of Rainbows, and Five of Shields. And the words of truth are Breathing, Codependent, and Elimination. So, yes, we're in the time of Scorpio, and yes, we are dealing with, Mars being in Scorpio, which is bringing up a lot of the thoughts related to death. And ironically, the cards also reflect that. And I will be giving a astrological update also for the month of November. But first, we're doing the intuitive patterns with the cards. But I just sometimes have to look at the correlation between the astrology and the cards. And it's funny how they always seem to align in a bizarre sort of way. So we have some death cards in this particular spread. And the death card in the tarot means that many forms, many old perspectives, many beliefs need to be released, transformed, and potentially die. This card is a metaphor of how, until each of us confronts death, we often have no compassion for others that are struggling. It is only through experience that we begin to see past the powerful forces that hold our beliefs over our psyche and into the sometimes terrible consequences of our actions or lack of action. In ancient times, there are many ways that healers, teachers, mystics, shamans used to confront the ego, tear down the destructive logic of self-importance, and allow us to change and grow. Such processes were designed to be brutal. It was the only way to break the old out of the ego mind it was the only way to break the hold that the ego mind has over the actions of a human being so that the soul could rise from the depths and regain that essential connection and intuitive knowing that the person was truly seeking. A controlling ego leaves chaos, confusion, and fear in its path. The ego never leaves joy and love in its wake. The ego demands loyalty and control from the person. The ego threatens on a multitude of levels. Many cannot see that it is their ego that is the driver of this life rather than their authentic self. But when the ego is burned up by the fire of the authentic self, then there is a new type of tenderness that arises. Adamancy disperses, and we can allow others to have the process they need, no matter how horrific and terrible we know their consequences to be. Humanity does not learn until they experience great loss. Humanity does not understand except through our own experience. We cannot generate wisdom unless we understand life better through our choices and actions. We live in a culture that seems to need to belong to a side, a political party, or conspiracy theory. There are many ways to belong, but that need for belonging is the reflection of a soul that does not know themselves. When we need to belong to a group or a side, we are lacking confidence and do not know who we really are. When we know, love, and respect ourselves, then we can learn to respect the choices of others. Worry and anxiety lowers your self-esteem. We cannot be aligned with all things when fear is in control, and we must look at the fact that some people have made certain choices to teach all of us important lessons. We are creating a world that is stuck in the mud of self-doubt and constant comparisons. Some make conscious choices to align with this notion that suffering on a personal level somehow elevates your spiritual practice and potential. While on some levels and in some traditions based on history that is true, There is a level where ego is actually in control of the process, and all journeys begun by the ego will not end in the spiritual enlightenment one seeks. The cards this month are an act of warning, warning of the judgment and the act of judgment, warning that truth and equality are being threatened, warning that the idea of arbitration and agreement are not going to be possible. The cards indicate that those ruled by ego intend to manifest confusion and incorrect actions or actions that hold no merit. We are being asked to remember that strength comes from planning for the future. While we are in a world ripe with fears and concerns, those that are paralyzed and choose no action or avoid or intend to thwart are of no help and need to be put to the side so that they cannot create blockages to movement and change. Those that are powerfully engaged and willing to step into the forces swirling about are those that can and will get things done. The doers in the world do not need, the doers of the world do not need to belong to any group. They see the need and they act. Inaction is a sign of cowardice and a soul that does not know what it takes to be effective in the world. While it may be difficult, take a breath and make a choice to eliminate those that are not making decisions that support the major shifts being asked of all of us. All forms of death are an active choice of surrender. All deaths are a release. All deaths are a journey to forgiveness, and all deaths are designed to be a humbling revelation as to where our choices have led us. Take care, everyone.